Hi there. There have been so many times I'd sit down with a book and think, this is amazing. I'm so glad I read this. But then, a couple of weeks go by. Bam! I don't remember a thing, nothing. Just some fuzzy memories and a couple of quotes I can't really explain. It drove me crazy. Seriously. I spend all that time getting lost in the pages, and then it's like I never even read it. So, I spent a while trying to figure this out, testing all sorts of tricks. Memory techniques, retelling the story, even taking notes the old school way like I did back in school. But nothing quite worked the way I hoped. Until I finally stumbled upon a method that actually does work. And of course, it turned out to be ridiculously simple. This might help you too if you find yourself forgetting what a book was about the minute you close it. So, here's the trick. Treat it like a little reading ritual. Read slowly and mindfully. Yep, no rush. I know we're all used to doing things fast, especially these days, where we want to read, learn, and try everything all at once. But with books, rushing is like scarfing down dessert in 2 seconds and tasting nothing. And hey, if you happen to have a book on speed reading techniques lying around, you can just toss it in the trash. I'm pretty sure those books are written for geniuses, and we're just regular folks who like to actually enjoy the process. Instead, I start by asking myself a question. Why am I reading this book? Just for fun, to unwind, and get lost in a story? Or am I here to learn something, to dig into a new topic, to find an answer to a specific question? Setting this intention beforehand, I've found, changes the entire tone of the reading experience. I realize that if I know why I'm reading, then the whole thing feels much more meaningful. And when I read, it's important not just to skim through the text, but to ask myself questions. How do I feel about this? Do I agree with the author? Sometimes I even argue with him in my head. Can you imagine? There are moments when the author develops a thought and I'm like, hey, hold on, what if we look at it from another angle? These kinds of debates in my head actually help me understand the material better. And of course, note-taking is essential. This turned out to be key. Anything that resonates or simply seems interesting. I write down, but without overloading. Just a few sentences on what I found meaningful and why. No exact quotes. This isn't an exam. Just my own words, the way I understood it. This is important. Writing it down in my own words. When I try to retell it in my own way, my brain actually processes the information instead of just copying it. For example, when I finish reading a book, I open my notebook and I already have a few pages capturing the essence. Not as a plot summary, but in terms of what resonated with me. It turns out that by writing in my own words and adding my reactions, thoughts, and arguments, so much more information sticks in my memory. It's almost like traveling back in time to when I was reading and reflecting on the book. As soon as I open my notebook, all the images, thoughts, and emotions I had while reading reappear in my mind. Sometimes just a few lines bring me right back into the atmosphere of the book. That feeling of flipping through my notes, as if I'm rereading the book, but 100 times faster and 100 times more meaningfully, is amazing. The second approach that really helps me remember a book's content is going beyond the text. I try to see how I can apply what I've learned. I ask myself, can I use this? Or does it have nothing to do with me? Will this text help me see the world differently? Even if a book is purely for entertainment, I still ask, is there a lesson in this for me? And often, in the simplest stories, I find something deep. I also have criteria for determining a book's quality. For me, a high-quality, valuable book is one that either made me take action, changed my perspective on something or someone, or gave me motivation. That's why, instead of just reading like a robot, I read with awareness, almost like having a conversation with the author. And you know what? This approach really works. Every book becomes more than just text. It becomes a part of me. Even if I forget the details, I'll still remember its essence, the mood, and the thoughts it sparked in me. Reading books for me isn't just a way to learn something new. It's a true challenge that makes me better. Books are valuable because they give us time to think as we read. This makes it harder for the author to push our thoughts in only one direction. When we read, we're not fed opinions, and there isn't that fast-changing sequence of images like in videos or posts. Here, it's different. We have time to reflect, to delve into each of the author's arguments, to consider them, to find what we agree or disagree with, and to calmly think about why. Reading prompts an inner dialogue and encourages a critical approach to information. Unlike most other sources of information, which often present facts or opinions in a convenient, pre-digested way, a book demands mental work. To understand it, you have to listen to the text, catch its essence, and then process it, even challenge it at times. It's not just consuming information. It's engaging with the author's ideas, as if you're sitting at a table discussing and debating with them. Each of their points has to pass through your own perception and critique before you accept or reject it. It takes time, but that's where the joy and benefit of reading lie. This freedom of thought is rare with other formats. In videos, audio, social media, and even in conversations, information often comes at us quickly, striving to grab our attention instantly and simply. These formats are more about quick impact and emotions than analysis. There's little room for critique and deep reflection since they're meant to spark reactions, not contemplation. But a book, on the other hand, offers time and space for reflection. It respects us as readers, doesn't rush us to conclusions, and leaves room for our own opinions. We become not passive consumers, but active participants in the process, something other formats can't quite offer. I sincerely hope we all find our own selves in our personal opinions. Take a moment to think. How much of what you believe is truly 100% your own, and not something influenced by TV shows, films, news, other people, or even music? Have a great day, and I look forward to your feedback and critique on the content and how it was presented in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and like.